Great idea. Great idea, fella. Great question, too. I knew you were going to ask a question.
Oh, I read a book on this. Go ahead. The main way to eliminate the complexity is to eliminate the income tax, period.
Hallelujah. Are you ready, sweetheart?
Um, kind of. I'm just putting mascara on. But, yeah, sure. I'm ready.
Okay. It's raining cats and dogs out right now, by the way.
Yeah, so we have to go only indoor places, not outdoor places. By the way, can I talk about something?
Yeah.
I never
Huh?
a guy who never called me a Build-A-Bear.
You want to build a bear, baby? I just got you a toy bear and a
I
toy.
don't care. I want a Build-A-Bear.
I don't know where a Build-A-Bear is. We could look.
Do you have one tomorrow?
Well, I can Google it real quick for you. Do you want me to?
Forget it.
I want to fill you full of stuff in my love.
Ew, you just made this unromantic and cute.
All right, my love. Well,
Sometimes you know.
are you ready? Shall I order the Uber now?
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, it's raining out there? Damn.
It's raining out.
You better, not wait out there
Oh no,
on the
I'll
fucking porch.
I'll bring an umbrella.
Oh, man.
I'll bring an umbrella. I'll walk you in.
Don't, horror me.
You you packed an overnight bag, right?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not doing that.
All right.
Okay, fine. Order it.
Wait, let me make sure I got. Let me see if your address pulls up.
Damn, it's raining over there.
Okay, actually, just text me your address one more time.
Okay.
Can afford paying for something, or how they do it. I'll give you an example in New Orleans, which I think is pretty clever. And this is just a small microcosm example that maybe can be extrapolated out into other concepts. Is they have a ferry system there that it doesn't pay for itself, right? The cost to run in the ferries across the Mississippi River from downtown New Orleans over to Jersey Point, it 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 gets compensated by the raising of funds from the streetcars, which it's only like a dollar 25 to ride the streetcar, but that actually pays enough for the streetcar usage plus pays for the ferry. So that's how government, in my perfect world, would work. Is certain services could be offset other services that do have a surplus. But we have these in our government ultimately, and that's why we have to have the different layers. And we should be requesting our government officials higher up to be policing the other government officials more, rather than making it this good old boy system. And I think that's the case for what ultimately drove Trump into office in his first term, is the big middle finger to the establishment that feels like they're greater than us. And
That's what that fat pig who made that movie said. He's gonna be the biggest fuck you to the establishment of all time. But was he? Was he really?
he made a bet, and ultimately, a lot of them started betting more, and they have more influence than just voters, especially when you don't have to face another election. So I am always worried about term limits on certain things. We do see presidents in their second term oftentimes do things that they wouldn't do if they had to be held accountable by the vote. So, I think that's like saying taxing billionaires reduces crime. Yeah, what if they really take that money, right, and put it into the communities? Put already.
You think $20 billion is enough to eliminate evil in the human brain? You think so in society?
Well, I'm gonna just combine a few things. Trump, he rolled back regulations on Ebola, right? So obviously, stuff like central planning for road.
But Joe said, Joe, the way you're talking about central planning, that's like communistic central planning. The problem is our legal system and our legal industrial complex and the lawsuits that come from this type of oppressive taxation, let alone the appeals, it just creates another marketplace. I mean, everybody here who pays property taxes knows what the property tax appeal process is like and understands that in every city that is a multi-$100 million a year industry of appeal. So our taxation system has created a legal appeal industrial complex And it's all this money is going to support pensions at the present moment. So when a pluralist progressive Democrat mayor says we're going to spend another 200 million on restorative justice programs and DEI and CRT education programs, what they're doing is stealing from pension liabilities and the contributions that are not being made to the unfunded pensions. They're just taking that. They're also issuing tax credits on behalf of the cities in the tunes of billions of dollars. I've looked up property, what they call TIFs, incremental tax zones. And what they do is they just suspend taxation on a new development for many years. And sometimes when the right political moves come along, you can continue to get that TIF extended. So the whole thing is a grift between developers and investors, and Democrat mayors to give tax credits. The tax credit industry is a huge industry in this country. I have a friend who is extremely wealthy because of it, because he is a CPA and he does all the auditing for people that play this political development game of investment. So we really have to get back to the basics of how do you run a small business. You run it at a simple profit. We have created a communistic state in its truest sense. We've become the Soviet Union. We do not have separation of state and economy at all, and we're spending 7 trillion plus a year or even more, and we're only taking in 5 trillion, and that 5 trillion, a lot of it is on the backs of your average income earner. If I make 80,000, if I make 100,000 a month, I'm really only taking home 1,000 a week. So we're getting taxed, we're getting smashed, and the property taxes are going to clean out the retirees. People have already seen property taxes go from 7,000 to 21,000 a year. I saw a black woman with her family. They bought a house for like 125,000. They didn't count on the property taxes being 10,000. They can't afford it, and then they're going to lose the house and then owe money on the debt and get sued and garnished. So we live in a very pernicious, circular, parasitic debt garnishment society. If you can't keep up with the bills, the lawyers will get you. It's the best investment in your lifetime is to become a lawyer, because you can take down doctors. You know, Edward here, he has had, or other people here has had stents put in their hearts. If you got stents in your heart, you can talk to a personal injury attorney right now and sue that fucking doctor who put those stents in your heart and get a couple $100,000 out of his fucking fat ass. And he built Medicare and Medicaid for 2.4 million last year. So the point is, the whole system's upside down. We glorify the doctors, we glorify the lawyers, and everybody just kicks up to them. I am complete.
So, I don't have anything regarding the last statement, but what ultimately happens, shell game politicians run, is they'll come in with these altruistic policies, like what's being sold in California, and Mamdani, right now in New York City, and then as they go through the different policies, they still enrich the people that help them get there or empower the people that help them get there. That's oftentimes, I'm talking about local governments all across America. They're probably much more corrupt than even Washington, D.C. Then when the policies fail, you see this, and if we're here, I don't know that.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey Maya, it's John. Hope you're having a lovely afternoon. Sometimes my text messages don't go through for some reason because I'm on a Google Android. But anyways, call me back or text me, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.
Just Jesus Christ, man! Like 9, 10 convictions or
and the district attorneys have just as bad a record as the judges. The district attorneys are almost easier to get rid of. They can be voted out. The judges, they get impeached, and then you go through the political lawfare back and forth, how political it looks when you fire judges.
Figure by just a few percentage points, and if he's able to go on and win in the Senate, this will be a huge boon for the DSA. Now, on this stage just 2 weeks ago, you shouted me down about this, saying the DSA was largely insignificant, wasn't making that much of a move. But clearly, the Democrat Party, I saw the DNC. DSA's influence in the Democrat Party, and you did make the first response about what Bernie Sanders is going around saying right now. Now you're going into talking about the influence of Benjamin Netanyahu in AIPAC. You brought up AIPAC, and that they're at the center of the DSA. Are they?
They're at the center of what the DSA is against. And when you look at it, it's what Americans are against. I think, like I said, 49%.
That's kind of Americans
No. AIPAC is
yeah, that's not what the DSA is standing for.
losing American support, and AIPAC is directly not funding these Democrats.
No, so hold on, let's talk about the platform. Because that's kind of, I guess you're saying that arresting Benjamin Netanyahu is part of the platform, because Mamdani has said he wants to arrest Netanyahu. So you're just kind of commenting about one aspect of the platform. So I want to address what you said about Bernie Sanders. Okay, Bernie Sanders is now coming out and saying no reasonable-minded person actually wants to get rid of the Senate or defund the police, right? Defund, that's his big talking point right now. But when can we believe them? So, like, are they a trustworthy group of politicians or not? It does appear like they, like many politicians, are more radical in their primary, and then they start to venture back towards the center when they go towards the general election to dupe the voters into saying, very much like Abigail Spanberger did in Virginia. She said she was this moderate, then she gets right in and she pulls the rug out from underneath Virginians, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a radical. So here you have like El Said, he has very radical comments early on in his political commentary, or in his political career, and then all of a sudden, now he's like, well, you know, I'm no longer a DSA card carrying member. But when do we believe them? When they get power and they get into office, are they just going to go back to their radical ways? When they have enough influence, when they have enough DSA members in Congress, will they then be able to try and abandon the concept of the Senate? I don't think they'll essentially get rid of it. What they'll do is they'll make it a proportional based upon very much how the House is done. You know, will they then defund the police or defund the military when they have enough power and enough voting members to actually do it? It's kind of like they're hiding their true intentions until they have, you know, taken over the Democrat Party and taken over our government, right? That'd be more realistic. Because these are probably their real beliefs, what their platforms are.
Weren't these politics made illegal in the mid-50s? These type of politics were made illegal, and maybe it was appealed, and now it's not illegal anymore. Joe, what's the history on that? These politics?
There's a law about the Communist Party. I don't know about the specifics of policies in regards to it, but there is a 1954 law, I believe, regarding communism. Yeah, I mean, it is communist.
It comes to tactics, though. I don't want to describe, because it is communist.
Well, look it up and read it to us. Tell us, get Grok to summarize the 1954 communist law. I'm driving right now. I'm about to have to get out of the room here in a minute.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, sorry, man. Clubhouse has this new thing where you can't even check. You can't even do your due diligence and fact check your website, or you'll get thrown out of the room.
Yeah, you need 2 devices.
We can still do it in Android, so it must be an Apple thing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even hear the question because I got thrown out of the room while I was looking up my Montgomery's cut to the police force. It's like a $22 million cut to the police force where he implemented targeted cuts in preliminary spending plans. He scrapped plans for phased hiring of 5,000 new recruits to the police force. And he rolled back the anticipated increase in uniform headcount during budget negotiations with the city council. At the same time, like I said, I gotta go back to the historic low in homicides. You know what I mean? So
The historic low in homicides is propaganda and a lie. A straight propaganda and a lie, and you keep referring to propaganda and lies. We all know that's not true, my friend. It's a fucking lie that Democrat mayors have put out nationally. Crime is not down. Homelessness, mental illness is huge. There's huge crime numbers over the past 6 years. So stop with your fucking propaganda and your fucking lies, you fucking liar. You're a low IQ piece of trash spreading lies. Stop with your fucking lies, you fucking liar. You hear me loud and clear. It's spelled L-I-A-R. You're a fucking liar citing lies. Stop spreading your fucking lies, you fucking liar. I am complete.
does anybody else have children around?
You're wasting your time educating your children with lies on a conference call, you fucking loser piece of trash liar.
I said my second job.
Bitch ass nigga.
it's not just communism. I think it's the focus on, central planning, which both appeals to the communists and the Islamists, and simultaneously, it may be, I'm not sure about your views, but maybe you do lean more towards like central planning to solve problems, but you inadvertently, maybe members of the DSA now, I'm against central planning, but they're also embracing, knowingly or unknowingly, the central planning of Islamists, which isn't communism, right? A whole separate system, but you both agree with certain tactics,
Yeah, they're
measures of control, and I think you've even embraced, maybe unwillingly, this anti-Netanyahu, anti-Israel talking points. They're fighting against their communism, which is Islamism, right? And the Islamists stand, I would imagine, for everything that you're against. But yet, you would probably vote for Imam Ghani or al-Said. And these people, they believe gnarly, dangerous stuff that makes Zionism look like, libertarianism at the end of the day. Really. So I think you need to be careful and really examine who it is you support and what you think they're really trying to achieve.
No, I hear you, brother. And we're having this conversation. Know that anything that I've said is facts as far as like, you can even go to Fox News, and they're already reporting how Americans' trust in APEC is down like 19%, and with certain studies, 20%. So I'm more so talking about the state of America instead of like what I believe, you know what I mean? Because I'm actually a supporter of getting the illegals out of here so we can get our jobs back, and we can get our cities safer. I'm actually reporting to the state of America when you look at the data, as far as like trust in APEC, and 49% of Americans wanted Netanyahu arrested. That's data. You know what I'm saying?
I agree
Yeah.
with you that that's stated to reflect, but what state does that tell you that the same people that are losing trust in APAC and want Netanyahu arrested are championing and putting on their shoulders clear Islamists? It's wacky, and I don't think we should trust necessarily. Yeah, we can acknowledge public opinion, but that doesn't make it rational or right. And I think we need voices, even if they're espousing views that we might believe in. We still need loud voices to stand against other ideas that they have. Just like with Trump, it's like you cannot like some things about Trump, but you can also love other things about Trump. You got to be the same. You call him out Donnie and these Islamists out. If you are, let's say, a democratic socialist, you can't at the same time champion Islam. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, public opinion is important to understand, but I just want louder voices speaking out against values that are antithetical to the West.
Yeah, and I was talking about it in a sense to where like the state of things, I think what you saw in Gaza, what you see with the Iranian war, right? And then when you have J.D. Vance, who a month ago goes on Joe Rogan's show and says that Israel is conducting propaganda campaigns to extend the war, and thus undercutting by throwing him under the bus and where he's trying to do his job, right? So that he can actually work out the peace talks, and he can't. And he says that Israel is doing propaganda campaigns on American people. That's our vice president. That's a Republican. That's a conservative. That's a right winger. And so, like Fox said,
Prove it wrong. Prove it wrong.
Hey, he said it. I'm not here to prove him wrong or anything.
Yeah, he's wrong.
I'm more so talking about the fact that he said it, right? And that does not do good for the trust of Americans. And just like Fox News says, when they went through the polls about America trusting Israel, right? This is not just a left-right issue, Democrat, but this is a national issue where it's affecting Republicans and Democrats. And what I'm saying is that it's influencing the rise of the Democratic Socialist movement to now where the public doesn't trust AIPAC, right? And we just saw how that lady ran against El Said, right? And lost with a $60 million surplus and $60 million boost. You know, you can see the way things are going. And so that's why I brought up that, yeah, Israel and things like that. It's just like it's all happening at the same time. And so when JD Vance goes on there and says that that does nothing to that's you know that scares the public. Like what? You know for sure our vice president says that Israel's running propaganda campaigns to keep this Iranian war going. Wow, like we need to look deeper into that. So that does nothing for pro-Israeli candidates in the
Yeah,
future.
that's true. That's true. But you know that that's a game of diplomacy. Like Saudi at the one hand deals with Israel, but yet publicly they have to talk negatively about Israel as do other, Islamist type countries that are moving to the center. It's all a game at the end of the day. So yeah, Vance, I love Vance. I mean, yeah, you can focus on one comment he made, but then you also have to take that into context with all the other comments he's made as well. But I think it is a dangerous momentum happening in our country of people embracing communism, embracing Islamism, because they're embracing communism or so-called communism. And at the end of the day, I think, let's say J.D. Vance was correct in what he said, Israel is pushing the war. Well, maybe that's because they know that you can't have peace with Islamists. If you do have a peace, it's a short peace, which will come back to bite you even worse than any war we would have today. And Israel, I think, with their history shows by example that you can't appease or have peace with Islamists because when they withdrew out of Gaza and all the Jews left and everything, I mean it doesn't end the war, it doesn't end the so-called freedom fight against the state of Israel. So I think there's lessons to be learned, and a lot of lessons are hard lessons at the end of the day. And the West needs to grow its backbone again and realize that sometimes war and violence is necessary, and sometimes complete victory is necessary. And typically, you only achieve complete victory with absolute devastation and, unfortunately, a lot of death of the loser's side to achieve such victory. But we don't have that backbone, will to kill a million people, with one bomb, like they just celebrated, or remember the dropping of Hiroshima and Nagasaki just recently. I think it was just this past month. Sometimes those, unfortunately,
Gee, you say we don't have the will, but we had the will to mass vaccinate 80% of our population with an experimental mRNA gene modifying spike protein creator. We had the will to do that, didn't we? To do a mass carcinogenic event on ourselves and on the whole Western world, to depopulate ourselves, to sterilize ourselves. And Rand Paul can't even arrest Fauci in a fucking senatorial. If Rand Paul was a man, he would have the sergeant at arms and private security and make a citizen's arrest of Dr. Fauci and march that little fucking Italian Goomba faggot straight to Todd Blanche's office where he can put that little Goomba faggot vaccinator in prison. Until we get real justice in this country, all is lost. It will be tyranny and treason and terror until we arrest Dr. Fauci. He is a fucking mendacious, evil, maniacal, manipulative, fucking lying rat. Him and Bill Gates need to be publicly executed. I am complete.
I can't believe we've given seriously that each room or any other room on Clubhouse or on the internet is about people. We need to move past him. He's a problem. He at our own issues and maintain peace with Rubio, yeah, I said it, and Vance as a joint ticket, and I keep saying that, and no one gets it.
Wait, what was it? It was Vance and who on the joint ticket?
Rubio,
Oh, I like him. I like him a lot.
it's coming to a town near you soon. Pay attention.
But I feel like there aren't many vaginas on this.
We do not care. We want to win as a country. We don't care. We don't care. I know you are. We don't care if it's a male or a female. And honestly, I don't think America is ready for a female leader.
Actually, it's funny that we're talking about this. Was my next subject in the new room I'm starting. So I might as well just, because this is Bee's room, I like to be consistent. I'll take over and do a new room under me. So I'm going to knock this out and then we're going to reopen it and we're going to talk about
Wait, Matt, cool. I just want to say one thing. When Joe B says that we want to win as a nation, that's true. We do want to win as a nation. But guess what wins at the national level? Intelligence. And unfortunately, the Kamala Harrisites of this country are not the intelligent group that we need leading this nation. We need real men with real strength, real values, real ethic, real morality. And that starts at our currency. If we accuse China of being currency manipulators, and it's all relative, well, fine. But we have to be self-reflecting and go within to find the truth. The truth of the earth begins at your birth, and it does end at your death. But if you waste all your time here on Clown House, you will have nothing left. And that's the problem with Othello. That's why he's struggling to pay his bills. He's got kids in the other room. And when I call him a faggot, retard, liar, spreading misinformation about crime statistics being at 60-year lows, he's a fucking politician. He's doing little mini baby politics, and that's all it is. It's just a tree falling in a wood. There's no truth. It's just lies. Hello?
I don't know a single woman leader in my lifetime or today's economy that wants to be second. We do not care. We want to win. Who's playing with their helicopter?
and he's mowing the lawn.
So thank you all for coming to the President Trump house and engaging in this thought-provoking debate with faggot retards who don't understand economics, can't explain inflation, don't want law enforcement, want us to spend billions of dollars, take it from the rich, spend it on the mentally ill who keep slugging women in the streets. That's the type of faggot retard you're dealing with. Recidivism. Violent criminal offenders attacking white women in the street, screaming Trump, and you got Othello here, just another Othello, telling you, don't you think if we took from Elon Musk, because he's building the biggest building in the world, if we took at least $2 billion more from him in taxes this year, we could use that money if we really used it, if it really went to the people who need restorative justice, if it really went to them. See, Othello doesn't understand that the middleman captures all the money. That's why the homeless crisis in California has only exacerbated, because the middleman faggot retard, just like your insurance broker, has captured us. We let the middleman take what he's not even entitled to. It's against the law, and they break it every day. That's why we need real lawmen, real patriot Americans, strong, liberal Americans. And when I say liberal, I mean libertarian. Not progressive Democrat, communist, socialist thieves who misaccurately use words to describe theft. It's investment. Motherfucker, it's not investment. It's fucking theft.
California, New York do not run our country. Us idiots are sitting on the sideline acting as if they do. We need to say screw them or embrace them, whatever the case may be, and proceed on. And we have to agree on what proceeding forward needs to look like in order to win.
And
And John, just know that when I fight for mental health, I'm fighting for people like you. Who actually need this.
Let me get that projection mirror out for you, faggot retard. And when Joe B says that we want to win, strength will always win, joy will always win, happiness is really the goal. And so, faggot retards like you who think you're fighting for mentally ill people like me, what you're really trying to do is fight for your own life. But you're not, Othello, because you're a faggot retard. And here you are spreading lies because you're a piece of garbage. So next time you project onto me, just remember, whatever you say to me bounces off me and sticks to you. That's what's up. Starting new room shortly in the President Trump house. Yeah, you gonna keep calling me the N-word, Himothy? Green bean, green bean N-word up in here. Green bean N-word.
That identifies winning and agree on what that looks like. I don't think 5 people in this room agree on anything.
I think we can agree that that nigga book needs help. Respectfully.
You're respectfully, nigga. If you're gonna say nigga, I'll say nigga. So nigga, it's all projection, nigga.
People, come on now.
It's all projection,
so stupid.
nigga.
I can't even stay here.
Alright, I'm closing. I'm reopening under me. See you in a few.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, see you then.
It's all projection, nigga.
Yes, but the question, I mean, the reaction or response I have is not necessarily that should that person have, but is there out there a, as you say, a process, a program, a strategy for doing that?
Of course not. Of
That's
course
the
there
question.
isn't.
And I don't know, in my ignorance, I would say, especially when they abolish in prison, or what's that other one about the thing about the police? I think I heard from my little circle, people, who have done studies and come up with approaches. And you say, of course not. Maybe I was in something, ooey stuff, but I believe that there are, whether they are academics, whether they're activists, who have thought about it and provided, and it's when it came up, they presented that. Now, did it come to fruition? But you say no.
They would invent prisons from the first principles. That's what they would do.
No, they didn't say that, to be fair. I mean, it was brought up as an example, and I just expand
But no.
Inventing cops from first principles.
Exactly. Hello? But no.
That's correct. They don't say what they say the crazy thing. And then when people say, oh, do you mean this crazy thing? When you say the crazy thing, they say, no, I don't mean the crazy thing. So why say the crazy thing if you don't mean the crazy thing? It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
Right? If you don't mean no borders, if you don't mean no borders, then don't say no borders. If you mean no borders, it's totally reasonable for people to think that you mean. If you say no borders, then it's reasonable for people to think you mean no borders. Right? That's where we gotta stop.
I thought we were just giving these examples of what people will see this thing, but they haven't expounded on, they haven't expanded upon the thing that they said. So we're just using these as an example, giving our names and have long dissertations about prison abolition. Because I don't think anybody on the stage wanted to go that far. I could be wrong, but right. And if you don't interrogate it, then you're not going to ask better questions. Because you're not.
I'm gonna ask the president to cross-examination question. No. Oh, my. Portion of my bio, I 50 years as a capitalist, prison chapter, dealing with mastermind criminals and them kind of people. I had rejects all my life. And they are kind of reformed. What they did in D.C., they allowed a felony to get a decent job at some point during the system. From guy could come in D.C. corrections and get a job. See, by doing this, he finished the GED program. And they complete the GED program, they can move on. Then he prepared himself for college program and could actually get a BA behind the walls of penitentiary. Now, what they would do then is get a vocational trades in between. And then in 2, 3, 4 years, this prisoner owned a business. Young boys in the hood with no high school diploma and owned electric business. They took an electric trade, all kind of plumbing, and how to lay up bricks. Advertising. Barber and cosmetology, trainee license, trainer license. We have trades, and the Congress, look, the Congress from all over the country, look at our young men, all policymakers, say, well, I'm getting me a degree in this, I'm going over here, I'm going over there. Every mouth, late 60s, 70s, and mid-80s, every mouth said, I'm getting ready to go build something, I'm getting ready to go get this. When I had kids, I'm already an electrician. We had something in our mouth, I'm getting ready to go get a 4-year degree out of Texas Southern University somewhere, North Carolina State, American AMU, all the black guys